Sweet guys, what is going on? Welcome to another edition of the Narik Chase channel. This is episode 26 of the Streamline podcast, in which I usually just talk straight about 20-something minutes about a subject or thoughts or something like that, or what's in the news or whatever. But in this video, like it says in the title below, I'm going to be talking about the best and worst characters in the Spider-Man movie series. And when I say movie series, I mean all three of them. The Sam Raimi, the Amazing Spider-Man, and what they're doing with the Homecoming. Everything from the side characters to the main characters to the villains. Just want to just say which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones are my favorite. Just basically just talking about all of those characters. Now, I know Spider-Man Homecoming is a part of the MCU, but I'm only going to count the characters that actually appeared in this movie. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, we do have the three Spider-Mans, of course. There's Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire. And honestly, I did like all three. I think all three of the characters performances did a great job with the characters. They brought something new to the character, they brought something fresh to the character, and they did bring their own take on the characters. Yes, Tom Holland is the youngest one, and it is and he represents kind of the younger generation, or where they're going with comics now, where they're trying to appeal more to younger audiences, like, you know, characters like Gwen, Gwen, and Miles Morales. Like in the Spider-Man mythos, they are kind of gearing more towards the younger audiences, as well as with other like with the Teen Titans, of course. And they have that one Avengers thing where they had Thor got turned into a woman. Then they had all of these the young Nova Corps kid. The newest Ms. Marvel, the girl that can shapeshift and all that. You know, he does a great job of representing like the younger generation. I did like Andrew Garfield's kid, and I did like Tobey Maguire. I think their incarnations were pretty interesting too. I think Andrew Garfield, even though he's supposed to be kind of a shutout a little bit, he seemed just way too cool to be a nerdy guy that nobody didn't want to talk to. But outside of that, I did like all three characters. I definitely will be coming back and doing an actual breakdown of which one of the three is like the best, and like a little versus video. But I'm gonna do that much later. I did like Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson, and I do like how they did explore the relationship in the Sam Raimi film. So she was a very prominent character. Of course, if you watch like the animated series, she's a very prominent character there too. So I honestly did like Mary Jane Watson, her character. Now, the one that I didn't like about the character, she became kind of a damsel in distress in all three movies, and I would have liked to be a little bit more stronger. At least one of the movies or something, she helped Spider-Man, but as a character, I think she did a great job of balancing Peter Parker's love life and his superhero life. So I'm good with that. We have the Green Goblin, of course, by Willem Dafoe. Dude completely killed it. Really loved his performance as the Green Goblin. Like Spider-Man, I am going to come back and I am going to do a breakdown video about the three Green Goblins in it, which I'll go ahead and just get into other two. I like James Franco's incarnation of the character too. I did like him as Harry Osborn, and I did care about his character, especially when he felt so inadequate due to how his father perceived the world with like business, and then of course he's Peter Parker's character. So I did like James Franco. I think they did a pretty convincing Harry Osborn, especially when he learns the truth and then kind of goes to the dark side and becomes this new Goblin, which the suit was looking really badass, and I love the way he fought. You know what I mean? I really did enjoy that incarnation of the Goblin. Now, I'm on the fence about Dane DeHaan's version, who played in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. As Harry Osborn / the Green Goblin. I think mostly because look, it wasn't the fact that he looked like crap. I mean, I'm not saying he looked like crap bad. I mean, look, he looked mutated. And all of that. I didn't mind that, because I think that kind of goes back to the Green Goblin in the Amazing Spider-Man comics. I'm sorry. Excuse me. where he transformed into that big demon looking thing that can shoot fireballs. What is that? Ultimate Spider-Man. I think it was Ultimate Spider-Man. Yes, it was Ultimate Spider-Man. But I think because of the way the movie just rushed everything with his character, I think he falls on kind of the bad side of what the characters are because, like I said, the movie just felt so rushed with him. I did like him as Harry Osborn, just didn't like how the movie presented him as the Green Goblin. Sure, if he'd have transformed at the end as the Green Goblin, which could have set up for a potential third movie, fine. I could have been with that. I can deal with that. But the way the movie rushed him in there, especially how he learned how to use everything so quickly, nah, I'm all on. I don't like that. We're gonna jump, and we're jumping around here, so we're just talking about all the characters. And I will be coming back and doing a break of debates about the characters too. Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, who's played by Michael Keaton in the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. I think that was probably one of the coolest and most deepest bad guys. I don't say bad guys necessarily, but antagonists we've gotten in the Spider-Man movie because the guy actually had personality. Oh, sorry. Damn. I'm sorry. I think he has the most. He was probably the most likable character antagonist out of all of them because he had personality, he had a good understandable motivation, you know. I've always hated the Vulture's outfit. The only time I actually kind of liked his outfit was in that one game, Spider-Man Web of Shadows. But outside of that, I've never liked his outfit or even liked the character. I did never give a damn about this character. But I have to say, I loved his outfit. I love the combat, the stuff that he could do. He was just an awesome character all around. Just straight up love the costume. And even with the Green Goblin, I love the costume with the Green Goblin. Now, I will say this when I go back to Spider-Man, with the Amazing Spider-Man, the first outfit, I liked it. And I hated that the fans did all this stupid backlash talking about they wanted it to look more like the original, which is dumb because every other medium not only has that same costume, but they have all these other costumes I have never heard anyone complain about. But that's neither here nor there. But going back towards Toomes, I did like his character in the Spider-Man Homecoming. And another great character who I thought was awesome was Dr. Otto Octavius, played by Alfred Molina in Spider-Man 2. Literally probably the best Spider-Man movie in my opinion. But I loved Dr. Octopus in this movie. This is the only medium I've ever actually liked his character like that. I mean, the way they designed the character, he was pretty cool. The stuff that he can do was pretty cool, you know what I mean? I love the character. I love how he kind of goes into that mad scientist trying to troll, but it does kind of redeem himself, and I like that about his character. They did a great job, especially with the tentacles. The tentacles look pretty cool. Now, the one thing I wish they kind of could have did was kind of got in his head a little bit, because I did read the book, and in the book, the tentacles do talk to him. You actually can kind of hear what they're saying. You can read what they're saying to him. And you do get that sense that he is talking to them, but I kind of would have liked the movie kind of jump in his head so you could tell that he can hear like these voices. So I outside of that, I actually like the character, especially what happened to his wife, because she was pretty cool too. It was kind of messed up what happened to her. And this right here to me is an underrated character, but again, it goes back to how the movie was written. Was Max Dillon, Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, played by Jamie Foxx. I did like the fact that he was kind of this messed up guy that ended up getting these powers. And he's mentally messed up guy, but it's because of the life that he lived. He's kind of a shut-in, doesn't really have any friends. His mom's just bugging the hell out of him. Nobody appreciates him in his life and his job. But I can see how he become the Electro that he does in the movie. But the movie kind of rushed everything, and they never gave any exposition on his life. So I did like honestly did like the character, okay? And I also love the design. That is literally one of the best character designs in the Spider-Man movie. I mean, he's part translucent, and you can see all his veins and electricity and stuff, and he's got a real, like, this glow to him. So I really love that straight up design, and the way the powers worked. It wasn't just electricity. It had that bioelectrical look to it, so it wasn't like just a straight up like a lightning effect. It had like purple streams in it too, and different colors of blue in it. So I really did like that about his character. And much as and he is probably the most tragic of the characters, in my opinion. Even though the movie did totally mess up everything about mess up any build up toward his character. We have Dr. Kirk Connors, the lizard that played in the Amazing Spider-Man. And the Kirk Connors character didn't get as much shine as I would have liked to, especially considering he's got a family in the comics, which really isn't mentioned in the movie, or any exposition on them whatsoever if they were in the movie. But the lizard design was actually pretty cool. Yes, he didn't have a snout, but in real life, nobody can talk with a snout, and it looked good. So I personally thought the lizard not only was a great design, but a pretty cool and intimidating looking character, especially with how massive he was. So I really like that. Now, going back to Dr. Kirk Connor's character, he is one of those characters you kind of feel sorry for, but I think they just, yes, he lost his arm, but they don't give you like a dreaded feeling that that you actually feel sorry for this character because he lost his arm. So they didn't give enough exposition on his character, which I think which is pretty bad as far as making him a sympathetic villain. But the lizard side of it, I did think was really cool. We can go to the Aunt Mays. 3 Aunt Mays, and I guess I'll go ahead and do a video on those 3 characters too. But we have Sally Field, who plays in the Amazing Spider-Man, Rosemary Harris, who plays in Spider-Man, and then you got the Sam Raimi trilogy, and then of course we have Marissa Tomei, who plays in Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, I did like all 3 incarnations, and yes, they do get younger with each new series, and I actually think it does fit for the series that they were in. You have a Tobey Maguire in his incarnation of Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi trilogy. He is a bit older, so you can kind of see that. And then of course, when it goes back to the Spider-Man Homecoming, she's younger. She's like maybe 40. But I actually like that. I think they all did a great job, and each one of them brought a certain amount of wisdom, a certain amount of humility to the character, and was a great supporting character for Spider-Man. And because I like Sally Field's character too, I think she was great. I liked all 3 of them, honestly. So the Aunt Mays was pretty solid to me, in my opinion. We have Gwen Stacy, and she appears in 2 of the movies. We have her in as Bryce Dallas Howard in Spider-Man 3, and we have Emma Stone in the Amazing Spider-Man series. Emma Stone completely killed as Gwen Stacy. She is by far one of my favorite characters in all of the series. She just brought a great amount of depth and just had a fun feel to her. Yes, I did like Mary Jane Watson in the Sam Raimi trilogy, but I think Gwen Stacy had just more of a light to her, just a little bit more, and I really felt for her character. And maybe it was because you got to see her family. You know what I mean? Her family was pretty critical towards the story. Where Mary Jane Watson, it was just Mary Jane Watson. But like I said, I'm not taking anything away from her. I think Kirsten Dunst did a great job with that character, and I think Gwen Stacy did a great job with Gwen Stacy. Emma Stone did a great job with Gwen Stacy, so I really love Gwen Stacy in this series. Now, Bryce Dallas Howard does make an appearance as Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3, but that is all. That was one of the things that I didn't like about it, because all she did was make basically a cameo, and she had really no shine. So it would have benefited the Sam Raimi trilogy to have actually had her be more of a prominent character. But Spider-Man 3 was a heavily flawed movie. Speaking of Spider-Man 3, we have Flint Marko, the Sandman, played by Thomas A. Church. I actually did like his character, and I did feel sorry for him. I really wish they could have done a little bit more with his character, because he wasn't really necessarily like a bad guy. He wasn't like, you know, killing people or anything like that. But they did give him a good story, and I honestly did think the character was pretty awesome. We have Phineas Mason as the Phineas Mason, the Tinkerer, played by Michael Chernus, and he played the guy that was building the weapons and stuff in Spider-Man Homecoming. And I honestly like this guy. He has a great, he seems like he has a really good personality, because for all the destructive stuff that he was buying, he just seemed like a really cool guy. You know, I watched him in other movies. He has that same presence to him. Like, he's just a really awesome guy. You know, he doesn't want to get his hands dirty doing like killer stuff. You know what I mean? And I like that he was kind of a voice of reason a little bit towards what Toombs was doing in the movie. So I like that approach. He wasn't violent. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't getting his hands dirty. He wasn't doing bad stuff. Yes, he was responsible for it, but I really did like his character, and I hope to see more from him from the MCU. And this one is kind of it calls for debate. Eddie Brock Venom, played by Topher Grace. Now I know Tom Hardy's going to be playing Venom in the film coming up later on this year, but we ain't doing it. We ain't done that yet. So I'll make a video comparing those two characters later. Now this, I'm not saying Topher Grace did a bad job as Venom, because I thought Venom was awesome in the movie, but I don't think, you know what I'm saying, he got the appropriate amount of screen time, especially when the shoot in at the end. Yes, I would have liked to seen him become Venom at the end of the movie, so that was set up for a fourth Spider-Man movie, but he did not get the proper amount of shine, especially when it came to the Eddie Brock character itself. You don't get to see what's going on in Eddie Brock's life. You don't see everything just crumbling around him. Excuse me, and why he did the things that he did, and why he became bad, and why he hated Spider-Man and stuff. Yes, he did a little editorial picture or whatever, and they found out that it was fake. But you got to be a little bit more. It's kind of like with the Electro character. Yes, it's a great storyline to see that this guy doesn't really have much going for his life, and in one turn, and he becomes a bad guy. But they didn't give any exposition on it whatsoever. So if there was kind of like a worst, it would be the Eddie Brock character. Although I did like Venom, he looked just like an evil version of Spider-Man. Yes, he wasn't completely overbuffed like he is in the comics, but I think that made the character look actually pretty cool. And I'm on the fence about how he died, but that is neither here nor there. We have again Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., Spider-Man Homecoming. Really liked him. His man's completely awesome. We get two incarnations of the Shocker. We get the Herman Schultz and the Jackson Bryce. And Bokeem Woodbine played the Schultz version of him, and Logan Marshall Green played the Bryce version. The Bryce version didn't get too much screen time, but I'm glad because we got to see the Schultz version. Schultz was actually pretty badass. I gotta give Bokeem Woodbine this. He did a great job as a character, and I would love to see that character return, especially when he came so close to killing Spider-Man. So, and then it was interesting how he had the Shocker gloves. It wasn't like he didn't have two; he just had one that was like kind of up on his arm and stuff, and he just punched stuff, and it made like the sonic effect rather than him just shooting the sonic effect. But it was really good, so I did not mind that at all. That I think is pretty much the main cast for most of them. Yes, you have the MJ played by Zendaya. And I really liked her character. I'm not sure if that's actually the Mary Jane that they're going to go for. But I'm going to put her on here. I actually liked the character. She was witty. She was sarcastic. She was observant. And you could tell she likes Peter Parker. So I didn't really have a problem with her character. I thought she was actually awesome. There's just a lot going. I really want to see where they're going to go with that relationship. But she brought a lot of great humor with that wit that she had. So, and I know people are going to be like, well, MJ's not mixed or wherever Zendaya is, but I don't care. She did a great character, and it's a fictional character, everybody. Come on now. If it was actual real life, fine, but it's a fictional character. Comics change ethnicities all the time. But, oh, okay, looks like we covered everybody. I would have liked to go into more depth with some of them, especially the one with multiple portrayals, which I will make separate videos for. But anyways, guys, in the comment section below, let us know what are your thoughts on, you know, who are the best and worst, you know, movie characters from the Spider-Man series, all three of them. And who would you like to see more screen time on? Because there was a couple of characters on here I would have liked to see a lot more screen time on. Anyways, be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what is going on here on the Narik Chase channel, guys. And remember, Tuesdays and Thursdays we will be uploading videos. And although we might start uploading more videos throughout the week, because I work 2 jobs, and despite working my butt off for 6 days and asking for the one freaking day off, my bosses think that it's a brilliant idea to keep having me work that one day I asked to have off. But anyways, guys, we'll catch you guys later. Stay tuned for some more videos, and we'll catch you guys later. Narik Chase signing out.